Hey there friends, welcome back to another Legally Owned America video. I'm of course Paul Glasgow here. Thank you guys for showing up, and thank you guys for the video yesterday, all the comments. You guys were very active in the comments section. I would like to encourage everybody that whenever you watch one of my videos, the title sometimes will mislead people, and I notice a lot of people will comment without watching the video. They just read the title. Pay real close attention to punctuation and things like that, because sometimes the title is a question based on what the media is saying out there and not a declarative statement from me about the video. So pay real attention to those squiggly lines with the little period at the bottom that we better known as a question mark, because they do matter. Question marks matter. I need to make a t-shirt on that. But again, thank you guys so much. If you like the videos, guys, please remember to like, subscribe, and share the video if you don't mind. Today's video is going to be less of a deep dive and more of a deep, I guess, dive into, let's just call it feelings. Yeah, I do have feelings. I know I don't like policy, politics, and things that are produced based on feelings, but I also do have feelings that do guide me from a moral compass standpoint, and this video today will tap into that a little bit. Headline: Donald Trump's foreign aid clampdown could force controversial LGBTQ plus charity Stonewall to cut half of its staff. For the record, guys, this isn't the part where my feelings get involved, just so you know. British charity Stonewall could be forced to cut half its staff after Donald Trump axed its foreign aid support. Basically, these are all efforts pushed by one world governments worldwide to try to destabilize countries, communities, politics, elections, everything globally. And obviously, us cutting the funding to USAID is getting rid of a lot of this corrupt stuff where we were funding all of these efforts to destabilize communities. The controversial lobbying group was told on Thursday that only roles with dedicated funding would remain following a restructuring of the charity. The news was broken to Stonewall's 114 shell-shocked staff by the organization's chief executive, Simon Blake, during an office-wide Teams call. Now, how can you be shell-shocked after 4 weeks of watching what Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Doge, and all those guys, how can you be shell-shocked? You receive the majority of your funding from an organization that they are rooting out all the corruption and evil spending involved in it, and you're shell-shocked whenever they come to your door and take your gravy train from you? Be smarter than that, stupid. Insiders told the newspaper that up to 50% of the charity's staff were now in the firing line, with the move being blamed on Mr. Trump's decision to axe foreign aid. Now, first thing I wondered was, what does Stonewall make? Right? I make things for a living, even if it's videos. Of course, I have a construction company also, so I make things. I build things. I don't care if you make widgets. I don't care if you build things. I don't care if you provide a service that gives value to somebody so they see the need in giving you money for it. In other words, maybe you cut somebody's grass for them. Well, they may feel like the time that you spend cutting the grass is better than the time they might spend cutting that grass. So your time is valuable to them. Therefore, they don't mind paying you for that service. It's a beautiful thing. It's the American way. But whenever we pay for disruption, I've got a real problem with that. When you go to Stonewall's website, it's everything you thought you would see. The blue-haired, butt-plug-wearing nitwits are out in full force on this website. I won't even show you a bunch of the garbage on there, but you can see, for the most part, it's what we would expect. This is just a limey version of what we already experience here in the United States. The one thing I did find, let's call it funny at first, until the reality of it sets in, is they have a glossary of terms over here. Gender dysphoria is one of the things that they redefine because they do not use the actual clinical definition of it. They make up their own. Gender dysphoria, a term used to describe the discomfort or distress that a person experiences when there is a mismatch between their sex assigned at birth, which means what they were born as, and their gender identity, which means the thing they pretend to be. Now, guys, just so you know, there is a publication called the DSM-5 book, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. That term mental disorder really is a button pusher for a lot of these nutbags. The American Psychiatric Association uses this textbook with clinically defined terms in it to define mental disorders and their treatment. As you can see, the words in this book vary dramatically from the new redesigned and redefined definition of gender dysphoria that these clowns put out. Now I know what you're thinking. Why are you hating on the gender pretenders? It's not the gender pretenders necessarily that I'm hating on. It's the people who celebrate their mental disorder. Now, the militant gender pretenders, and that's a whole different story. The ones out there that have these cults, that's a different story altogether. Those, I'm hating on them. But the ones who have a true psychological problem and they are reaching out for help, and the rest of society, because it seems to be the cool thing to do by celebrating their mental disorder, those are the ones that I feel bad for. Let me give you an example. If you have a person who is a gender pretender, a boy who is pretending to be a girl, it's got a problem right there. I mean, it's a clinical problem. It's a clearly defined problem if you want to do some actual research instead of Googling. If that person comes to me and says, Paul, I know I'm a boy, I've got all the plumbing, but I think I'm a girl. What is the right thing for me to do? To console them and say, man, I hear you. Let's see what we can do to help you out. Me, as a decent human, I would do that. I would do that. Not the one out there trying to jump on the hood of my car and kick my windshield in so that I recognize them and start using the right pronouns. No. That person doesn't have a place in my life and will never be the recipient of any care from me. I'm talking about the one who knows they have a mental condition and they're seeking help. I say this all the time, and I'm going to have to use this story again. It's no different than you being in a room with a schizophrenic and then walking up to you and going, Paul, I hear a lot of voices talking to me. Do you hear them? It would not be the right thing for me to do to tell them, yeah, man, I hear them. Good for you. Let's go hear those voices together. Let's tell the world we hear voices. No, that's not the right thing to do. They're trying to tell me about their mental problem. How do you know that these people who have a mental problem as a gender pretender are not telling you this because that's their way to reach out? That's not their cry for help. They may not know how to reach out and tell you something's not right up here. And then when you turn around and celebrate it, you have turned your back on and closed the door on any possibility of helping them. And now you are celebrating their mental disorder and you're doing a huge disservice to them. You are not helping them. Do you wonder why and I got to use the right wording here, why their self-deletion rate is 56%? There is no other industry, including the nutbags up in Seattle and these dreary places that live all over the world, in Alaska, wherever, and no hate for you that are up there. It's just that the self-deletion rates are a little high up there. Do you wonder why no one else has self-deletion rates like this one classification of people who have gender dysphoria? It's because no one is trying to get them help. They're even, as proof here, redefining the term to make you feel better about it instead of trying to get them help. This is a clinically defined problem that has treatment associated with it. You were ignoring and not allowing that treatment to ever be administered whenever you have parades to celebrate their mental conditions. Now, why am I going on about the mental conditions of these wackos over there in the UK? I'll tell you why. My wife came to me with a story a couple of weeks ago. No, she doesn't think she's a guy. That's not the story or the thing that she brought to me. I'm going to have to get serious here for a minute and tap into those feelings I was telling you about earlier. She tells me about this mother, this homeless mother that has 4 children living in her car with her in Detroit. You guys might remember we had really cold weather a couple of weeks ago, nationwide. It was a big outbreak of cold weather. This young mother lost 2 of her children. A 9-year-old and a 2-year-old died in her car with her 4-year-old and 8-year-old in the car also with her. She discovered the 9-year-old first in the morning, and then discovered the 2-year-old had died later when they got to the hospital while she was bringing the 9-year-old because he wasn't breathing. I want you guys to watch this video, but while you're watching it, and this is, I guess, an assignment, right? I want you to be thinking in the back of your mind, Stonewall receiving millions. The rest of the world receiving billions of your money and my money that we did not approve, going to destabilize and disrupt other countries, to teach craziness like this Stonewall organization, to twist people's minds and brainwash people that the screw up is the right thing and the right thing is the screw up. I want you to be thinking about that. Be thinking about if you just got home from work today, worked a long 8-hour days, 10 hours, 12, whatever, and you're thinking about the money you just made. Think about the 20% of that tax being skimmed off the top of and going to the federal government, and that it's going overseas to help silliness and not what you're going to see in this video. Think about this.
Breaking news in the sibling tragedy that shook Metro Detroit after 2 kids died of apparent hypothermia in a casino parking garage. Welcome to 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Simon Shayket. This story has devastated our area. Just moments ago, 7 News Detroit reporter Darren Cunningham talking with the mother of those 2 children.
Darren joining us live right now from Detroit's West Side with more from their conversation. And Darren, so many people talking about this. This is simply heartbreaking.
Very heartbreaking, Carolyn. Simon. Moments ago, I did have the opportunity to speak to Tatiana Williams, who lost her 9-year-old and her 2-year-old, also in the vehicle at the time, her 4-year-old and her 8-year-old. Also, Tatiana's mother and her 2 siblings, a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old, also stay in that vehicle. She tells me that she has been homeless for 3 months and that she is trying to do better for herself, trying to get back on her feet. She told me she's a CNA, a medical assistant, and that she was actually about to start a new job tomorrow. And so I did speak with her, and I asked her, one of the questions I did ask her was to take me back to yesterday.
Yesterday, I woke them up to wake them up from school. My son wasn't moving, and I kept saying, Freddie, please get up. Please, please for me, just get up. Don't do this to me. And I tried to give him CPR because I'm a senior and a medical assistant. I've been working there since I was 17. I tried to give him CPR and I was just giving him CPR. I just kept saying, Freddie, don't leave me. Don't leave me, please. I saw the green and brown stuff come out of his mouth. I instantly rushed him to the hospital. I was yelling out the window, stop, stop, stop. We got to get through traffic. My baby, he's dying. We get to the hospital. I told valet, can you go get some help? He took too long, so I got out the car to get help. They came to the car, instantly grabbed my baby on his head, get a stretch. He's not breathing. Help. Cold blue. Everybody tried. I didn't even know my 2-year-old was dying. I was in it with my 9-year-old, and they brought her in right after they pronounced him dead. And my mama came to me, she said, Yaya. That's what we call her, but her name is Amelia. We just call her Yaya. And they said she wasn't breathing, and they pronounced her dead too. I asked everybody for help. I called out of state. I called cities I didn't know. I called cities people asked me to call. I even asked Detroit. I've been on CAM list for the longest. Everybody now wants to help. After I lost 2 kids, I've been asked for help. I feel like it wasn't their time. I did everything I was supposed to do. They had everything. Everything they wanted. Only thing they didn't have was a house. But from electronics to clothes, anything they asked me for, my kids didn't even get whooped. I lost the one who made me a mother. I lost a 2-year-old. It hurt losing 2 kids in one night. You know, I don't wish this on nobody. And if you can get help, please go get help. Because I don't want nobody else to go through what I'm feeling. Just wherever you can get help from, if it's not from the city, the state, no other city or state, just go. Like, you don't have to suffer.
How do we not become outraged when we watch stories like that? I don't know the backstory of this young lady. I don't know The dad's obviously not in the picture. That's not a shocker. So there's likely more to this story, but clearly what she's saying is verifiable. A couple of things that stuck out to me. One, she has a job in a week or so in a medical facility. She has medical training of some sort. The other thing was she went to shelters. She sought help. She tried to find locally in Detroit a place to accept her. Now, I know that a lot of shelters will not take someone, a guardian or a parent, with children. I just know that's a thing. I did a quick Google search of the area and I found several shelters, as you can see here, that will receive children along with the parent or guardian. Not blaming the mom. My point in doing this is that apparently those same shelters that advertise themselves as receiving a mother with children close their doors on these same people that they claim to help. That's likely the claim that they make so they can receive their own USAID money or their own money from other people with bigger hearts. But yet when the rubber hits the road, like in this case, they turn these people away. You can't tell me that this mother refused assistance. You think she chose to sleep in a freezing car with 4 of her babies in it instead of going sleep in a shelter? If she had been welcomed with open arms by one of these shelters, by God, I believe she would have taken them up on that. I really don't think she would have made the conscious decision to sleep in a car with her 4 babies, one being 2 years old. Friends, these are the kind of stories that make me stand up and applaud when I see the efforts of USAID being shut down. I am so sick of us trying to get gay camels to square dance in South Africa. I'm so sick of running a study to see if we can get shrimp to do somersaults off of an ATV in the middle of the Sahara Desert. I don't care what the effects of cocaine are on a hair-lipped sloth in the Sudan. That doesn't matter to me. I don't need you running those studies. You have done nothing for the betterment of humankind on this planet when you run those stupid little silly studies. In fact, truth be told, we see these studies like this all the time, like the hair-lipped sloth on cocaine. I don't think they're running those studies. Do you? It's something stupid that they name that nobody ever has an intention of actually doing. It's a way to pay these top-heavy organizations these massive salaries for the directorship and these silly little t-shirts and bumper stickers that they make. No money ever goes to the actual cause. That's why you see these kids with a half a bowl of rice in Africa starving to death still after we send billions over there. There's no reason for them to still be starving if that money actually made it and bought more than a half a bowl of rice. I have an absolute problem knowing that all the issues that we have in this country that are not settled and solved whenever we are shipping billions of dollars overseas, and in this case, to tell a teacher in another country that we kicked their butt 250 years ago, having these teachers tell students that they are not boys or girls because it may hurt their little fantasy feelings. I have a real problem with that. Let me make this very, very clear. As long as $1, not a billion, as long as $1 goes overseas for anything, I don't care if it's for the hair-to sloth on cocaine. I don't care if it's teaching somebody not to say boy or girl to somebody who's pretending to be something else. I don't care if it's to put a bowl of rice in somebody's belly somewhere else. I know that sounds cold. I don't care about that. As long as we have somebody, whether it's a veteran, whether it's a homeless person, whether it's a homeless veteran, as long as those people are not taken care of within the borders of the United States, that's $1 too many leaving this country.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America. It's over!